And when we get to the real business, I'll tell you how William Ruto has captured the state. I'm saying, William Ruto, please respect the people of Kenya. Don't talk about corruption again, because that is an insult. Because you are the one who is leading from the front. And you are the one who is setting the example to everybody.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Plains and Felix and I welcome you to Kenya News Alert TV. Regarding Gachagua, he created enough time to speak to Kenyans, to inform the Kenyans, to share with the information, and this is the first time kuongea in public since his return from the US. Thank you. Without wasting time, let us go straight to the point. He tried to comment on tribal issues.
People have community organizations that were not established by Rick G. I have not been to America for a long time. But when you go to America, you find the people from the mountain have their own organization. The Abagusi have their own organization. The Ma have their own organization. The Kamba people have their own organization. The Mlembe Nation have their own organization. And let me tell you, Yvonne, let people not pretend that communities don't sit together and talk the same language. God, in his own wisdom, created people with an identical language. And people tend to congregate around each other to discuss their issues. So when the Abagusi community invites me to address them in the United States, do I tell them I cannot meet you until you call the Kambas and you call the Masais? I attend those meetings on invitation. You don't go to arrange people how to invite you. You own an invitation. If the Abagusi people say, come, first and foremost, I went to Baltimore, and the Abagusi people said, tomorrow is Sabbath day. Can you come and join us in church? I did. And when I was there in church, there was an interpreter. The preacher of the day was preaching in English, but there was an interpreter in Abagusi, because those people speak their language. And by the way, Yvonne, let nobody feel embarrassed about speaking your language. Even the preamble of the Constitution acknowledges the ethnic diversity of the Kenyan nation and why people must be proud of where they come from. And that is why you find the Abagusi are in a church in Baltimore, and there's an interpreter to interpret the sermon in the Kisii language. That is the nature of the Kenyan nation. Mr. And there's nothing Rigiji can do about it. I had two types of meetings. I had town hall meetings for all Kenyans across 4 communities. Then there were communities that invited me for meetings to discuss issues that are unique to those communities. Because communities are not, they have their own unique issues that do not transcend across the country. And I want to ask you a question. No, I don't want to ask you, I don't want to ask you the question. But let me point out, last week, William Ruto met the Abagusi community in State House. The Kambas were not there. The lawyers were not there. Nobody asked a question. Tomorrow,
he tried to comment on tribal issues. He said he is a Kenya first man, but he is coming from Mount Kenya. He is a Kenya first man, but he is from Mount Kenya. What does this statement mean? This statement mean Kenya ndio the first option, alafu yeye ni anatoka Mount Kenya, meaning ni ameka everything yenye anaweza involve himself Kenya iwe ya kwanza, like wa Kenya mzima. You understand? So can we still continue believing that this guy is tribal? Yes, of course, he has confessed kwamba he is a Kenya first man, but he is coming from Mount Kenya. We can remember there was a day a Gen Z lady stood up and questioned him, asked him, until when are you going to play tribal politics game? You understand? So, can we still believe that this guy, whatever he was trying to share with us, was the real content from his heart? The girl could question Gachagua Okay, this girl was a good representative of all those Gen Zs wenye wamekuwa in question, wakijaribu kujiuliza, for how long are we going to observe this guy not playing in national politics but politics based on tribals. According to the information and according to the responses this guy could give, many Kenyans, I don't know whether they got convinced. I don't know whether maybe Kenyans were convinced with the statement, but or not. But why at some point we can just conclude that this guy, we need to depend on him to get a little bit of the information? He proceeded ahead na akasema kwamba makosa yalitokea wakati walikuwa wanapanga serikali hata before uchaguzi. He said by himself kwamba yeye ndio akuwa intelligent enough just like other leaders wenye walikuwa wanashirikiana na Rais Ruto. He gave a good example kwamba Western leaders, all those leaders who are coming from Western, they were smart enough to an extent, even when they were planning to face elections and all those programs that they could arrange together with Western leaders. Western leaders preferred documented agreement, tangible agreement, something that he never tried to imagine that he ever needed that. Yeye mwenyewe amesema kwamba even before wa face elections walikuwa wamepanga mikakati kubwa sana pamoja, lakini makosa yalitokea wakati hakuenda kudocument chini assign. That's why ilikuwa rahisi sana for even the president kumgeuka. Rigathi Gachagua alizungumzia yale ambaye alikuwa amepromisiwa na rais akishachukua kura ni nini na nini na nini. Rigathi Gachagua anaenda kubenefit kutoka kwa government ya rais. Rigathi Gachagua mwenyewe alisema walikuwa wameagree ampatie 8 good positions. Now of all these 8 positions, if this guy is not tribal, or if this guy alikuwa of goodwill to Kenyans, my question is, what was to be the problem if of all these 8 positions zenye alikuwa nasema if possible watu wa Mount Kenya wapate, mbona ikuwa like yeye ndio amendorse 8 positions in the government but from all parts of the country? Now that is some of the questions my fans are trying to question me right now. But I think if he was a man of goodwill to the nation, na vile hiyo statement alisema he is a man of Kenya first, of all the 8 positions ambazo alikuwa anajaribu kuzingatia if possible apewe na rais, zingetoka Kenya mzima, lakini si 8 kutoka from the other side. So there was some of the statements zenye alikuwa amefanya kutoka kitambo. I don't know whether maybe this statement mnaweza ichukulia vipi, but kuna some of the statements zenye alikuwa shaongea kutoka kitambo. Na hizi statements zilikuwa like ni kama alikuwa anajaribu defend serikali na maneno yenye angetamuka during that time they are a little bit contrary with what he always speaks. I remember akisema kwamba some of the issues that he could handle right now, some of the issues and in fact he could handle even before now, they are still in minor to now. Of course, I can agree with him. But now, can we still believe that Rigathi Gachagua, without somebody from the other side, from the government, for example, kuwa around hapo mahali anaongea alafu ulizane maswali tunaweza pata the real information? But before that, I have got some of the points here I could share with you zenye nili notice kutoka kwa statements zake. Accusing the president in involving himself with non-government organizations and tunaweza sema ni kama militia. We expected, if possible, we get the information concerning these militias. And according to the information he gave, he could convince Kenyans that these statements were not his own plans. These are some of the informations he could get from the Senate, USA. So, this issue of militias and other organizations that Kenya could involve itself nizimekuwa questioned na America. Na the statement, according to the statement vile alikuwa nasema, is that all this ni kwamba America ina try maybe kuchokozana kidogo kwa sababu rais amefocus developmental issues na projects sana na China. Are we going to be safe if this point maybe haiwezi shughulikiwa vizuri? Are we going to be safe? Kama maybe historia militias and non-government organizations foreign non-government organizations zenye ziliwahi kwa hosted Kenya ama ziliwahi involve na Kenya. Hii issue kama haiwezi ikazingatiwa vizuri, how can we be sure enough that we as the country maybe we are going to be safe if Rigathi Gachagua anaongea ukweli kuhusiana na information? What did you really think is going to happen? Haven't you seen that tension is going to be at the peak? Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the country whereby we need to stand and try to question the government over our safety. Because Rigathi Gachagua address the nation. Rais pia yeye kwa mfano atakuja ku address the nation kwa sababu he has to respond. He should respond to this issue kwa sababu inaweza kuwa imecontaminate some of the brains in our Kenya. So if possible, I'm very sure he is going to come with the information yenye inafaa ku neutralize yake. So what do you think is going to happen if not tension? And this tension at some point can bring madhara. So ladies and gentlemen,